I think all of you will agree with me when I say that Bishop Hebda is a wonderful bishop. I remember when I first came to this country, Bishop Hebda, the first time he saw me, he already knew my name. He obviously received the information that I was coming in, and he met me at the sacristy, and he told me, "Father Patrick, welcome." And I was so surprised that the bishop would remember and know my name. But one of the wonderful things about Bishop Hebda is his great sense of humor. If you've ever been at Mass with him, most likely he made everyone laugh at least a few times. And one of the reasons why he's so funny, I think, is because he's never afraid of laughing about himself. Like, he will always do jokes to make fun of himself first. And I think that's why when he makes fun of others too and teases others, he doesn't come across like, "Why are you doing that?" But it feels funny too. And I've been thinking about, these few years, how important it is to learn to laugh about yourself. Not to take yourself too seriously that you can't laugh about yourself. And I've noticed that this capacity to be able to laugh of yourself is crucial in life. And you know how I learned this? I learned this because in our religious community, we tease each other mercilessly. Like, we are relentless in teasing each other. And I noticed that some members, when they were teased, like, they always responded back. But other members, when they were teased, they followed along the joke. And then you didn't want to tease them anymore because they were like, it wasn't fun to tease them. There was one brother that we used to tell him, "Brother, when you sing, you sound like a pothead, like a stoner." And you know what he said? "Whoa, what do you mean?" Why am I bringing all this up? Because St. Philip Neri is called the saint of joy and good humor. And his biographers say that one of the great traits of St. Philip Neri was he didn't take himself too seriously. He would always make fun of himself. He wasn't afraid of being ridiculed. And I think all of this was grounded in his profound humility. Because I think the more we are grounded in humility and we understand how, in a sense, meaningless we are, the more we're willing to laugh about ourselves and be okay when someone else teases us. But I think that when we take ourselves too seriously, maybe there's too much pride in ourselves. But the amazing thing about St. Philip Neri was that together with his great sense of humor and his continuous jokes, he was an extraordinary mystic. They say about St. Philip Neri that when he celebrated Mass, sometimes in the elevation of the host, he would remain in ecstasies for 7 hours. So people would leave the church, they would close the doors because they knew Mass was going to go for way too long. They also say that when he died, they examined his ribs, and his ribs were displaced by the enlargement of his heart. So that's St. Philip Neri. A great sense of humor, but not a shallow sense of humor. A sense of humor grounded in humility, and at the same time, a true mystic. So, I want to finish with this question. Can you laugh about yourself? Or do you take yourself too seriously? Do you know how to handle when other people tease you? Do you know how to make fun of yourself? Let's ask St. Philip Neri that he would infuse in us a greater sense of humor, but also a greater hunger for the mystical life.